Parshat Balak, the Torah portion of Balak, which is Bamidbar, chapter Kafhe, 22nd chapter of Book of Numbers. It says there, Vayeshev Yisrael b'shittim vayachel ha'am liznot et benot Moab. And Israel camped at Shittim. Atzei Shita is a kind of acacia, so maybe it was a place with acacia trees. Vayachel ha'am liznot et benot Moab means that the people started to have licentious behavior with the daughters of the Moabite people. And then they didn't just fornicate, they also started idol worship. They worshipped their idols of Moab. What does Vayochal Ha'am mean? Rashi says, it looks like the root is, the people ate. God ate them. The people ate, I guess they ate with the sacrifices of the Moabites. Again, don't assume, don't guess. See what's written. Maybe somebody else has the answer before you have your own take. It's a great thing to people who don't lo omer shum devar me'atzmo. Great Torah scholars, they don't say anything off their own head. They honor the tradition because they see the greatness in it. I like creativity, but anyhow, that's a different subject. Back to the subject. Then we have the thing with Pinchas. So it says that Vayomer Hashem al Moshe kach vayitzmed Yisrael Baal Peor. They were worshiping the Baal Peor, which was a worship of God by defecating before the idol. That's Baal Peor. That was a popular form of worship in the ancient world, in the Levant. Vayechar af Hashem b'Yisrael. And Israel was doing this crazy idolatry stuff and this perversity, licentiousness, idolatry. And God's wrath was upon Israel. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe kach et kol roshei ha'am v'huka otam l'Adonai neged hashamesh vayoshev charon af Hashem miYisrael. Vayashov charon af Hashem miYisrael. And God said to Moses, take the heads of the tribes and smite them to God before the sun. Oh, beautiful language. Vayhuka. Listen to the language. V'huka otam l'Adonai neged hashamash. Huka is to hit, smite them to because in the honor of God. Again, I'm saying I don't know what it means, but I'm going to look at Rashi to see what it means after I look at the pasuk. What does huka mean? You always use it as a question. I think it means to strike, but maybe I don't remember correctly. Huka otam l'Adonai neged hashamash, against before the sun. He hit them before the sun, and that appeased God's wrath from Israel. V'yomer Moshe al shoftei Yisrael hargu ish anashav, etc., etc. V'hine ish mi b'nei Yisrael ba v'karev et echav et ha-Midianite le'ene Moshe le'ene kol adat b'nei Yisrael. And behold, a man from the children of Israel came v'yakarev et echav et ha-Midianite le'ene Moshe le'ene kol ha'am le'ene Moshe u'le'ene kol adat b'nei Yisrael v'hema bochim petach ohel moed. A man of Israel came and brought to his brothers a Midianite woman. Brought a Midianite woman to his brothers before Moshe in in the presence of Moshe and in the presence of the whole congregation of Israel. And then they cried, and they cried at the gates of the tent of appointed meeting, the tabernacle. They cried at the front of the tabernacle from this. This is a really horrible situation here. Like, who couldn't cry? And then it says, Vayar Pinchas ben Elazar ben Haron Kohen ve'yakam mitoch e'edah va'ikach roma biyado. And Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron, the high priest, he saw and he got up from he rose from the congregation and he took a spear in his hand. Vayavo achar ish Yisrael el hakuba vayirkod et shnehem vayidkor et shnehem not dance, it's to pierce. Vayidkor et shnehem et ish Yisrael ve'et ha'isha el kavata vate'atzar hamagefa mibnei me'al bnei Israel. So then, this is tough translating here. And Pinchas went after the Israelite man, El HaKuba. What's a Kuba? The Kuba is a word for the tent. Rashi says tent. And he pierced both of them, the Israelite man and the woman, Al Kavata. What's Al Kavata? Like the Rashi says, like the cheeks and the belly. He pierced them through their cheeks and their belly, and he pointed the spear at the genitalia of Zimri, and he pierced the spear went straight to their genitalia because they were fornicating in front of the tent of meeting in front of Moshe. Perhaps in front of Moshe too. It says in the verse, it says, he brought the Midianite woman before the eyes of Moshe and before the eyes of the congregation. So imagine you take a woman and you start fornicating, let's do it in the road right in front of Moses. Whoa. And everybody saw what they're doing, and they know that Pinchas was a zealot for a good reason. And I'm just going to say, this act of zealotry, I'll tell it in a second. How much time do we have? We have 1 more minute. First I'll read the Mei HaShiloach. The Mei HaShiloach, Rabbi Mordechai Yosef of Izbitza, the great 19th century Hasidic master, Hasidic Rebbe, says the following. And the man of Israel came, and he brought a Midianite woman, etc., like we just read. It's interesting because before he was punished by Pinchas killing him and her, before he was punished, he was called a man of the children of Israel. If you listen carefully, it said from the children of Israel, and after the punishment, he's called Ish Yisrael, a man of Israel. Because this was Zimri. Zimri, son of Salu, the prince of the tribe of Gershon. He was one of the princes of the 12 tribes. He was the leader of the tribe of Gershon, and he did this. So why was he so then we have the question, why first, before the punishment, he was from the children of Israel, and afterwards it just says for an Israelite, not children? Because he went to Moses. The Midianite woman was named Cosbi, and she was the daughter of the king of the Midianites. And so he brought Cosbi to Moses and said, "Who allowed you, Moses, to marry a Midianite woman?" Zipporah was the daughter of Yitro, of the Midianites. She wasn't from the seed of Abraham, or maybe not directly, but She was a Midianite. She wasn't an Israelite. So that was his claim. He said, "Hey, you take a Midianite, I can take a Midianite." And he did it because he saw that this daughter of the Midianite had a portion in the world to come. Radical. Nobody would say anything good about Zimri and Cosbi. The Mei HaShiloach comes along and says he's the prince of the tribe of Shimon. He had the eyes to see before that she, again, let's say he just brought her before. They were fully dressed and respectful. They says who. So you had a Midianite woman, and she was Zipporah has a portion in the world to come. I see. That's the Cosbi. She also has a portion of the world to come. The woman that I took. That's why the verse says, "Al titalel bayom machar ki lo teda ma yiveled yom." Do not trust or praise the tomorrow. Don't trust. Don't praise tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is going to be like this and like this, because you never know what's going to happen. It says in the 27th chapter of the book of Mishle, Proverbs. You don't know what's going to be in the future. Because even, what does that have to do with the discussion here? Okay, he sees that she has a portion of the world to come, and then the Mei HaShiloach, or B'Mordechai Yosef of Izbitza, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, says, the Pasuk, Al titalel bayom machar, don't praise tomorrow, don't boast of tomorrow perhaps, because you never know what's going to happen today. You never know. Don't be too sure. Because even that he saw that there was a good end, meaning everything reaches their final completion eventually. So maybe they had to go through Gilgulim and reincarnations until they fix all their sins. And so he said he saw that there was a world to come, a fixing of this woman, and he thought the fixing of this woman had to do with him taking her as a wife. I don't know about the public fornication, but at least taking her as a wife. I don't know what the Mei HaShiloach would say about that nasty little act, but even though you see that in the end, in the future, it will be good, nonetheless, you don't know how God is going to act in the present. Yeah, she's gonna have her portion of the world to come. But right now, it could be horrid. It is horrid. It was a horrid, idolatrous war with bloodshed and perversion and all the juicy stuff. The way we read the Old Testament, partly somewhat, so some people, me at least. So, no, they shouldn't say things like that. It's not really true, a little bit. Anyhow, so. You never know what God's doing right now. But Moses illuminated. God illuminated to the eyes of Moses how to act in the present. Only Moses knew completely how to act in the present because he spoke to God face to face. Therefore, Tzipporah was permitted to Moses. But in the future, the Holy One, blessed be He, will make all the refinements of all the souls and all the clarifications and take the dross out of the souls, and like the smelting of the in the crucible of the silversmith, until it's pure. Of the gold and silver are pure through this process of refinement and purification through different actions. And this, so you look at something now and say it's horrible. Eventually, it will be good. Maybe you say, because everything is going to be fixed, either fixed and joy and holiness and oneness, or evil will be separated and thrown into the nukva de Tehom Rabba, the abyss. So that's the final rectification of everything. But for right now, it still might be something that you get speared for. Shabbat Shalom.